You're listening to Mark Brennae on CFAX 1070.
Good for you for making that right choice on your way home on a Friday. Weekend's coming. Hey, the BC Junior Draft is coming for lacrosse. It'll be held February 16th at the Vancouver Creekside Community Centre in the Olympic Village. The Shamrocks will be looking to make some selections as they gear up to try to recapture that Western Lacrosse Association title. And they recently made a significant trade with the Nanaimo Timbermen. And we're going to discuss that as well as a coaching addition to the Victoria Shamrocks. Our guest is the general manager of the Shamrocks, Chris Welch. Hey, Chris.
Hey, Mark. How you doing?
I'm very well, thank you, sir. Before we get into the trade, you acquired Casey Jackson a few days ago. I want to get into this. This is hot off the presses. You've got a new coach, not a new head coach, but a coaching addition over at the Rocks. Tell me about it.
Yeah, we're really pleased. We just confirmed the addition of Mike Simpson as an assistant coach for the 2017 season. And lacrosse fans of Victoria will remember Mike as a player with the Esquimalt Legion Junior A club that he was the captain of. That was the last Victoria junior team to win a Minto Cup Canadian Championship. He captained that team, and that featured the likes of our current coach, Bob Hayes, Gary Gate. It was a legendary squad, and Simmer was the captain. Then he played for 9 years as a Shamrock, won a Mann Cup with the Rocks in 1997. He's been a coach at the Junior A level with the Junior Shamrocks in 2001. In 2004, he was the first head coach of the expansion Minnesota Swarm in the NLL. So he brings a wealth of experience, both as a player, as a coach, and is a perfect fit for our coaching staff going forward. He'll be our offensive coach, and Art Webster, who we're thrilled is coming back, will slide down the bench and coach the guys out the back gate, coach the defense. And, of course, Bob is returning as our head coach. We're very pleased about that. So our coaching staff is in good shape for the upcoming season.
Well, that's great. That's great news. It's a great addition. Just a whole lot of experience that you just listed there that he has here. Holy cow! He's also Simpson is also a Victoria native, and he works for the Saanich Fire Department.
Yeah, he's an inspector with Saanich Fire, and like a lot of lacrosse guys, he's had a career in the fire service.
Excellent. Well, that's great. That's good news for the Shamrocks. Earlier, a few days ago, well, about a week or two, you also made a trade with the Timbermen over in Nanaimo. Tell us about that. You acquired Casey Jackson. This guy can score.
Casey is a very gifted offensive player, a left-handed shot. He's played 4 seasons in the WLA. He's averaged about 3 points a game, which is not easy to do at this level. And he was drafted by Burnaby coming out of the Victoria Junior Shamrock program, played 4 years with the Lakers, did very well. Then he was traded to Nanaimo last year prior to the season. And for, a variety of reasons, he didn't play last summer. And so we inquired as to his availability, and we were finally able to put a deal together. So we add him to our offense on the left side. And anytime we can add a Victoria guy to our group, we're obviously thrilled to do that, and it's no different with Casey. We're glad to bring him home and put him in the green and white where he belongs.
Okay, to make that trade, you sent a second-round draft pick, not in this draft coming up, but in the draft of 2018.
Yeah, we already didn't have our second pick this year. We sent that to Coquitlam last year in the trade for the goalie, Adam Shute. So it's the second rounder in 2018. That's correct.
Okay, the draft comes up in a couple of weeks in Vancouver. Do you have a pick in that draft, and if so, where?
Well, we've held on to our first-round pick. I've tried to make it a little bit of a policy that our first-round picks are just not assets.
Great organizations always do that. If you look at, and you know this, across the realm of sports, you got to keep your first-round picks unless you've got something unbelievable. If you're making a Gretzky-type trade and you're acquiring that kind of guy, yeah, I get that. But generally speaking, it's a very good idea to keep your first-round picks.
Absolutely, and we've done that for this year. So we'll be picking 7th overall, and then again in the 3rd round at 21st overall. So we're confident with those 2 picks we're going to get guys who can step in right away and play, especially with the 7th overall pick. There's a couple of good Victoria guys that we're hoping will still be there when we pick, and we'll have to make the tough decision to choose between them. That would be the ideal scenario.
With that seventh pick, can you tell us, outside of the guys that you might be thinking of, where on the roster are you looking to shore up defensively, offensively?
I think, we really take a position. It's just the best player available. We don't really use the draft positionally so much. Maybe in later rounds you begin to do that, or if you've got two guys who are kind of equal, you might go for the positional need. That's not the case this year. It's not a positional thing at all. So the two Victoria guys that we're talking about are both more on the defensive transition side of the game than they are straight offensive guys. So, we'll get some help through the draft on D. We got some help on offense through the Jackson trade, and we're looking to make some moves interprovincially as well to bring in some transfers to shore us up in a couple of other spots as well.
Okay, with Casey Jackson being acquired, who else should we look for this season coming up to be the offensive spark plugs?
Well, I mean, it starts with Reese Dutch and Corey Small. I mean, I think they're still at or very near the top of the leaderboard in the National Lacrosse League, playing for the Vancouver Stealth, and every year they're at the top of the league. For us in the Western Lacrosse Association, these are two of the best offensive players in our sport today, and they'll be definitely leading the way for us again in 2017.
Reese Dutch and Corey Small, names that just roll right off the tongue for sure. 14. Sorry, go ahead.
And they play that way too. They roll together.
Yeah.
On the floor, tremendous chemistry.
Well, I covered the series when you won not last season, but the previous series, and boy, those guys were just so impressive. They were just all over the floor. You're coming off a 14-4 regular season. It was cut shorter than you'd like it to have been. What do you foresee happening this year?
Well, everyone's improving. It's a tougher league to play in. Of course, we're trying to get better, and we see other teams making moves to get better too. New West has made a couple of huge trades that put them in a pretty good position to where they think they've got to be, at least in the short term, better. Maple Ridge acquired a really good D-transition guy and to their lineup that, won the West last year. Nanaimo's made a couple of nice moves. So, we see a lot of teams working hard to get better, and we're no different. We're working hard to get better too. We want to make it as tough on the other teams as we can and remain competitive as ever, and give the lacrosse fans in Victoria, their money's worth, and hopefully they'll keep coming out to support us, and we'll keep trying to put banners in the rafters at the Q Center for them. Right.
So the Q Center, the home again, of course, this season. Season usually starts in May. Do we have a date yet? Has a schedule come out?
We're expecting the schedule in early February, but I would anticipate that we'll be opening up at home on probably Friday, May 19th, I believe is the Friday there. I don't have the calendar in front of me, but Friday nights at the Q Center starting approximately May 19th, and look for the schedule in the next, hopefully, 2 weeks here.
And it starts with a derby against the Timbermen.
Well, that's been the case. You never know. We have a new commissioner, new people working on the schedule this year. They may change it up, but we always love our rivalry with the Timbermen, and anytime we can host them, that's a night to mark on the calendar and really look forward to.
Got to ask you this, Chris. I know you had great attendance last year. Sometimes teams will take a look at the times that they play, the days they play, etc., and they'll rejig it a little bit. Is there any? I'm not suggesting you need to, but has there been any thought of changing the times of the starts for your games or any of the nights of your games, or is it going to be just like last year?
It'll be very much like last year. Like I said, our home games are Friday nights. Each league, the way it works in our league, each team has a designated home night, or some have two nights that are designated their home nights. Ours is Fridays. And we used to play Wednesdays and Fridays. Long-term fans will remember that, way back we used to play our home games until school got out on Friday nights. Then once school got out, we moved to Wednesday nights. But we did some surveys and, some fan research, and we were, and we looked at the numbers, and it all pointed to Friday night as being, the night for lacrosse in Victoria. So we've stuck with that, and we'll continue to do so.
Perfect. Okay. Thanks very much for your time. We wish you well. I'm sure we'll talk to you well before the season starts, somewhere in the mid part of May. Thanks very much for taking the time, Chris. Appreciate it.
Hey, Mark. Thanks for having me on.